Episode 173, We Made Up. Jake subtly curled his lips and relaxed for the first time in more than a month. Serena didn't want to pay him any attention and continued to drive. But eventually, she asked, "Where's that store?"
"It's at Congress Avenue."
Serena was confused and looked at him. "Wait, isn't that behind us?"
"Yes."
"Why didn't you say it earlier?"
"You didn't ask."
She grit her teeth, wishing she could throw him out of the car. But she still turned around and drove towards the place. The meat place was down the lane they turned at.
"Turn right. We'll get out here,"
Jake said calmly, but there was a playfulness in his eyes. She parked the car on the side of the road. The rain was still pouring down like crazy. He took his umbrella and opened the door.
"Sit tight."
She blinked, not knowing what he meant. Did he want to come over to hold the umbrella for her? Did he think she had no umbrella in the car? She was always prepared. She pouted and went out of the car with her umbrella immediately after Jake got out. Her umbrella was powder pink in color, which had two cartoon characters kissing on it with hearts around them. It was quite a girly umbrella. Serena locked the car and walked ahead. Jake's eyes darkened. He stopped and said,
"It's a small walk from here. Stay behind me."
"Okay." It was indeed a bit far. After they walked for 10 minutes, the rain became lighter, and they ended up in a narrow alley. The alley was clean and well decorated. It was the first time that Serena had been to a place like this. She didn't know that an area she passed so casually every day had a gem like this hidden. She was very surprised. "I didn't expect this place to be so pretty." Jake took down his umbrella and walked into a store with a time-honored brand sign. They entered the store, and she was immediately attracted by the delicious aroma of meat jerky and snacks. Reading the store's history and origin, she was quite interested. The shop owner greeted Jake warmly, as if he knew him personally. Jake ordered several flavors, glanced at her, and then gazed at her umbrella that she had put next to the door. After Serena read the store's history, she walked around the racks. When he came to get her, he had 2 full bags in his hands.
"Let's go."
"Okay." As they walked back, the rain became heavier, but there was less water standing in the streets. They could easily walk. Serena picked up her folding umbrella at the door and was dumbstruck. Since they were not going to spend a long time in the store, she did not fold the umbrella up. However, when she picked it up, all she got in her hand was the handle of it. Glancing at the pole in her hand and the canopy on the floor, she was so pissed that she stomped her foot. "What the hell? Who did this? Damn it!" Standing behind her, Jake said in a cold voice,
"Someone must have stepped on it by accident. Look at that footprint."
A black footprint was left on the canopy, dirty and wet. She looked at the footprint and felt quite upset. She recently bought this umbrella because she loved the print. It was the first time she had used it, and it was broken already. She winced. Glancing at her being upset, Jake said calmly,
"It's just an umbrella."
"But it's raining so heavily. I'm going to get wet without it. My hair will be ruined. Not that it's not right now." She muttered the last line under her breath. Jake heard her, but chose to ignore it, saying,
"I have one here. It will suffice."
He took his big black umbrella, drying on the rack, and said,
"Let's go."
What the heck? He was going to share his umbrella with her. Serena mumbled, "It's raining even more than before. The only way we're going to make it is if we run our way through the alley shops.
You can run away with me then.
Run away? Elope? Serena blushed. I meant walk fast, like running.
That's what I said.
Jake looked at her seriously. She blushed even more. Did he mean actually run away, just the two of them? Or run through the lanes, avoiding the rain? She knew, even though he said casually, the meaning of term running away is pretty standard. Whether it's through the weather or in life together, she couldn't figure out what it was Jake was implying.
Let's go.
He handed her the 2 bags of food.
Can you hold them close?
She took it and held it in her arms. He was wearing a long stand-up collar peacoat in deep gray, and a suit underneath. He put up the umbrella and unbuttoned his peacoat, holding her waist and covering her body with it. Serena froze and struggled a little. What are you doing?
We're going home.
She felt her cheeks were burning by Jake's warm breath on her ear. He said in a deep voice,
Keep the food safe. We shall not keep Grandpa waiting.
So, she was to keep the food safe, and he was to keep her safe. On that thought, her heart raced as he walked her down the stairs. Seeing her pink ear, he had a soft look on his face, and wrapped her tighter with the coat. Neither of them spoke. Serena felt warm. Holding the food tight, she was not splattered by a single drop of water. When they were back in the car, she saw that his back was drenched. Seeing him taking his peacoat off, she moved her lips but did not say anything. It warmed her to know that he put himself in discomfort, just so she would not feel uncomfortable. When they arrived at the old house, it was about 6 p.m. Jake went to the bedroom and changed. Serena gave the meat jerky to Grandpa. Captain Robinson was very pleased, smiling contently at her. She was a bit embarrassed and went to help Emma make baked stuffed turkey. Emma put all kinds of stuffing into the paste: sesame sauce, peanut butter, and egg yolk. Serena's job was to baste the turkey well, so they could stuff it properly. Emma passed the last plate of the stuffing to Serena and asked in a low voice, You guys made up? Serena saw her teasing smile and was reminded of her call. Nodding, she said, Kind of. The ice was broken, right? At last. Captain Robinson had been worried about you guys recently. It's great that you two have made up. I suppose the captain will ask you to stay the night. I have your clothes ready if that's the case. Thank you, Emma. It's all right. Look, the turkey's ready. Let's put it in the oven and make some side dishes. Serena checked the oven temperature and let the turkey bake. She, along with Emma, made some fried dumplings, salad with mustard dressing. For dessert, there was a traditional pie which Emma had already prepared. She remembered how in her previous lifetime, she had taken cooking lessons to impress Jake. But none of that had worked. But now things were different. After they were done, she counted the dumplings and broke them into several servings. Before she could leave the kitchen, there were some noises coming from the living room. It sounded like people were fighting. Startled, she ran out of the kitchen. She immediately saw Mrs. Cox yelling at Jake. Jake, you scum of a man! Give my daughter back to me! Where did you take her? Mrs. Cox looked very emotional, her eyes bloodshot. She stared at Jake like he was her enemy. He was sitting on a sofa with his legs crossed. Looking elegant and cold, he glanced at her. I have no idea what you mean by that, Mrs. Cox.